Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef. So if you have watched my Gamesplanation for Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef, you'll have an idea of how this game plays. I've set the game up for a playthrough for 2 players. There are rules to have a dummy player for the 3 players, and there's also some solo rules. I'm not going to go into those. You can have a look at the rules for how that one works, but I must say that the dummy player doesn't work too poorly in this game. I'm leaving these cards face up. Everyone will have one of them. Normally they would be face down. In your first game, they've suggested to keep it face up just so you can remember to go after it. So this player, who will be first player, as marked by that token, is looking to complete games at the Droska ring, which is here. So he wants to complete at least 3 challenges there. If he can complete 4, he will get 10 points instead of 7 points, but he needs to do at least 3 challenges there throughout the game. This player is looking to do synergy challenges, which is challenges that have that symbol on the card. And once again, he's looking to do 4 or 5 of them. And this player is looking to do challenges with 4 or more traits on them. So if he can do 2 of those challenges, he'll get 7 points. 3 is worth 10 points. So at the moment, the challenges only have 2 or 3 traits on them. Other things to be aware of, I'll start over here. This player has an extra shell coming to him whenever he visits the Citadel of Time, which is the top board, or the Chronoseum, which is this board over here. This player is allowed to use 1 resilience trait that comes off this die. So when he rolls his die, he can use 1 of these traits as any trait symbol. And this player will gain a shell if he's doing a challenge on an island that is where someone else already is. So let's get started. We'll start with this player. The rules say you're supposed to pile these underneath there. I just move it around, just remember to leave this behind. So the first thing that he's going to do is he's going to go to the Racer's Bay, which pushes this marker forward twice. So he goes there for that spot, which gets him a shell, and then he goes there. This is the action of the actual board, which pushes him forward 1 on the champion track. So that's a worthwhile thing to do straight out of the bat. His cards are these. So he could go after fighting this straight out, and he thinks he probably actually will, right from the outset, to go for a fight. So because he's in that location, he can fight against this card. Now, he only has a single roll, so number 1 just there. So he can only roll 1 die unless he spends a fruit. So he's going to spend a fruit to enable him to roll both the dice. You will always roll this die with it. So he hasn't got anything coming against him, but he hasn't achieved anything. So he can re-roll, and this is the really essence of the game, is choosing to re-roll as many times as you can or like. So he's rolled 1 of those crosses, which means he puts a shell over onto his board. This has achieved that. So he has achieved this card. He can continue to fight to try and get the other half of it so that he'll be able to push his focus for 2 spots instead of 1. And he thinks he probably will. So he'll keep rolling. Once again, nothing comes against him, but he hasn't got what he was looking for. So roll again. He gets 1 more hit, but he's also got the second thing. So he's now achieved both of those. These 2 dice go to the spent die side. He pushes his focus forward 2 spots, which now gives him 2 dice whenever he rolls against stuff. This card now goes underneath his board to show that he has completed a challenge at that location. Now, in order for him to get this, he really wants to do challenges over here, but because he did a challenge there where that guy is standing, that pushes him forward 1 more spot. Now we move on to the next player, which is Pink. So his cards are these ones. He's really looking to do this challenge because he wants to complete the stuff with the synergy on it. As he upgrades synergy, that will allow him to have more character cards down. So what he might do is head up here, and he'll actually go to that spot, which gets him a blue die. The board itself gives him 1 of these cards, which is that he's going to just hang on to that one for the moment. So he won't use that straight away. And he can now fight that card. And he thinks that it might be worth his while just to go after the one at the moment to see how everything else plays out. So he's just going to use the die he's just picked up to fight that. So you roll both dice. There's nothing happening against him, but he's hit the wrong symbol, so he can roll again. There's the symbol he was looking for, but he has hit one of the crosses, so he puts one of his shells across onto that board. That's been achieved. He pushes his synergy forward one, which now allows him to gain an extra element, or character card should I say, which is take two of these cards, decide which one to use, and he thinks at this point it's probably worth his while to actually grab this card. What that's going to allow him to do is to discard a stunt card, so he won't actually achieve what's on there, but to refresh two of the dice out of his spent dice area. The other card that he hasn't used goes onto the bottom of that deck. The challenge he did was not in the location where the judge was, so he doesn't get any points for that. So that's all done, and we move on to the next player. Now he is looking at two symbols there and one symbol at the top, if he wishes to go after them. And the one at the top he's looking for those. So what he might do is go up the top as well and take a red die. So it comes down there. He gets a card because that's the board, and he gets one of these. So he's going to hang on till he's got a higher level before he plays that one. And he's also going to try to challenge that card. He will use the two dice, so he's going to spend one of his fruit, and he's going to roll those two dice. So there's the roll. He's got one of those. He's hit a shell spot. He can roll again. He thinks he will. Of course, he's got a couple of shells there to spare, so that's going to cost him another shell. And he will go the one more time, and that's achieved what he wanted. So he spent that other shell, but he has achieved what he wanted, so which is 2. So he pushes that power forward 2, which means that if he plays this, he'll get both the shell and the orange, because that's up to level 2 on the stunts. Those two go to the spent dice. That goes to under his board, show that he has achieved one of the things in that location. We go back across to Dust. He has two challenges just here, which isn't really helpful to him at the moment. So what he might do is go up, and he'll go to the meditation spring, which releases all of his dice so he can use them again, and it gains him a challenge card. So he thinks he'll actually take this challenge card, which is showing in this symbol, so he can go after that next turn, and then that gets replaced straight away. Over to the middle guy, who has two challenges here, so it might be worth his while to go after that. So he is going to go there, so that gets him 2 more shells. That pushes that forward, which gets him 2 more oranges, and then he's going to go after this guy. So he really wants to use 2 dice, so it's going to cost him one of the oranges to be able to use an extra die. So both of these, and that hasn't achieved anything, but he has taken no hits, so he can roll again. He'll hang on to that question mark. That has given him 1 hit. Now what he's able to do, and I fear that I didn't mention this in the Gamesplanation, is that he can spend all 4 shells here to set one of the dice to whichever side he wishes. So he's going to do that, which is spend 4 shells. So they go back to there to set this to that side, and he has now achieved that card. So he gets 1 point for achieving a battle on the location where the judge is. Those 2 dice go over to the spent side. He pushes his spirit wheel forward 2 spots, and that card goes underneath that location. So realistically, he's trying to get a battle achieved here in order to get 2 more points added in. Back over to this guy. This guy has 2 cards for that location, so it's probably worth his while to go there. So he will go there because he wants the 2 shells. So put this in there, grab 2 shells. He can spend oranges to gain other things. So he has 1 orange, which he will spend to take that card, which gets him 2 more shells. That card gets replaced straight away. Remember, everything gets replaced straight away in this game. And he will battle against that one. And he's forgotten this card already. So when he was up at the Chronoseum, he should have gained another shell for just being up there. That's something that I tend to forget, is what each of these cards do. So please keep an eye on that. So the battle to start with, he's taken a hit. Now, he's able to use all 6 of those shells to refresh one of these dice if he wishes, but he won't be able to refresh them into this battle. That will need to be there for future battles. Or he could spend 4 of these, which he thinks he will do, to set this to any side he wishes, which he'll set to that, and he achieves that battle. So he will push forward his resilience by 1 spot. That goes over to his spent dice, and this card goes under that location. Okay, we move back over to Aqua. He now has one of these cards, and that's the one he's going to go after. So he will move his guy across, and he will go there. So he gets 2 more oranges. He moves this forward, which gains him a card, and he thinks he's going to grab this card because that guy's coming to here next round. That gets replaced straight away. And he's going after that. So he's got 2 dice, so he's going to spend... Oh, he doesn't need to spend an orange because previously he's pushed forward 2, so he can roll the 2 dice for free. So he'll roll the 2 dice and the other die. He has achieved one of them. He has not taken a hit, and he has another dice. So he's going to roll again. So what he can do is spend his 4 shells, which he will do, to just set this to the appropriate side. And he's now achieved that, which gains him a point for there, plus turn that wheel 2 more spots forward. So he can take his point, and when he turns his wheel forward, that now gives him the ability to roll 3 dice whenever he does one of those battles. Before the challenge, he should have taken an extra shell because of this card, because there's someone else there. Okay, this player has 1 card, which is here. He will need 2 dice to do it, so he can't actually do it at the moment. So it's not of any value to him. So what he thinks he might do, he's going to come up against this guy. So what he gets to do is he can discard his stunt card, which he will do. So he doesn't actually do the stunt card, but he discards it to gain 2 of his dice. So he'll gain 2 of those dice. Because he's up here, oh, where's the die on? There is. He's going up against that. It will cost him an extra orange because he can only roll 1 die. So he did gain 3 shells by going up there, by the way. Sorry, I do apologise. This has covered up that one. This has gotten him an injury, so he moves 1 shell across. Now, he has the choice of putting this here, or he could roll it again and go after that. So he thinks he's going to roll again. There it is. So he's got another injury. So push that across, but that shell has managed to do the top element. So he covers both of them up. The top one gets him a point. So that pushes him forward. Those dice go to the spent side. And we move on. Back to this player who has 1 card for here. Can't actually roll enough dice to be able to do anything. But what he can do, he will go there, refresh those 2 dice. He only has the ability to roll 1, but before he does that, he does the action of the board. And the action he's going to do is actually to gain a fruit rather than spending fruit. He can then spend that 1 fruit to get 2 dice rolled. So we roll those 2 dice and that 1, move him out of the way. And we've achieved nothing that he wishes to, but he hasn't taken any hits. So roll again. Once again, we've achieved nothing that he wishes to, but he's taken 1 hit. He can keep going. There's 1 hit there. He's going to set one of the dice to that side, so that gets rid of those 4 tokens. He'll keep rolling. 1 more hit. And you roll again. One more hit. Now, we're into a quandary because he hasn't achieved this card yet. He really needs this to come from that side or the question mark, but he has no hits left. So I didn't go into detail in this in the Gamesplained. So what's going to happen if he rolls another one of these symbols, if he wished to keep rolling, he would actually lose this die. So he needs to make the decision whether to lose that die or to just accept that he's lost that challenge. I think to be safe, he's going to accept that he's lost the challenge. So he still gains the one spot on the resilience because of that die. But rather than actually losing the dice, they go to the spent area. This card does not get placed underneath his board because he hasn't succeeded at that challenge. If he rolled again and didn't achieve the challenge, he would actually lose a die. So that's kind of the thing that he's weighing up each time. Okay, I've finished the first round. So let's just really quickly run through what happens at the end of a round. The first thing is a monster invasion. So we roll this die. It was an 8, so 6 to 8, this monster invades. So this monster is invading. Everyone who hasn't battled against him will lose a die. So this player loses one die, that player loses a die. He can choose which die, so he's going to hang on to that red one, and he'll lose another die. The middle player doesn't because he's already battled him. The monster then advances. If he was on the bottom and he fled, everyone who didn't battle him would lose a point. Then we refresh and upgrade the dice. So this guy gets to upgrade one die. So he'll refresh that and he will have a look at his cards first up. And he thinks he's going to upgrade to a blue die. This guy refreshes and he upgrades one of his dice. So he'll upgrade this to a red die. And this guy refreshes his dice and he upgrades both of his dice. So this one will upgrade to blue and this one will upgrade to one of the red with the black around it. Then you collect your action discs back and your guy as well. We move the judge one spot around the circle. The person who's the tournament leader, which in this case happens to be Aqua, will get his marker on round 1 because he is currently the leader. Then we move this through to round 2, so everyone gets another action. And we change the die that is being used, so there's more of those X spots on that die. And then we go back into round 2. I will leave it there. I think that's enough of an idea of how to play the game. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be Gamesplained, please shoot me an email to thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter @thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games that I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.